Wow. Good evening, and welcome to yet another exciting episode of
Bamboozled,
where we talk about how you have been bamboozled, lied to, tricked by the media and other government officials, and it continues, and we are here tonight to keep up the good fight. Ryan, any housekeeping issues, anything you want to talk about before we get down to it?
There sure is, Jason. Thank you and welcome, guys. We're so glad that you're joining us here tonight. And a couple of those quick housekeeping things. First of all, we want to thank everybody that has donated to the American Patriot Council over the last week. We've had quite a few people have contributed, so thank you all very much. It is much appreciated. All of that goes towards the efforts of continuing to spread the word of our mission to restore and sustain a constitutional government in the United States of America. Also, Jason, super exciting. The nationwide Freedom March has really picked up in a lot of locations. Over 50 locations in over 25 different states are all on board planning events for October 24th at 3 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be incredible. I'm super excited about this, and thank you to all the leaders that have stepped up and that are joining us on this endeavor for the largest unified display of American patriotism in American history. We're going to be peacefully gathering, exercising our First Amendment right, showing support for the United States of America all across the country at the same day, at the same time. If you go on our website, AmericanPatriotCouncil.org, under Freedom March, you can see all the locations of where they're at and find a location near you. Grab your American flag and come join us. It's going to be an amazing day. So very excited about that, Jason. We have a lot of good things coming. As a matter of fact, I just got a text a few minutes ago from somebody else that wants to lead another event. So if there's not an event in your area and you say, hey, I would like to lead one in my area, let us know and we can help you merge in with the rest of the group and be able to be a part of it. So the nationwide Freedom March, October 24th, it's going to be incredible, Jason.
Yeah, I'm super excited about the Freedom March. We've had some adversity, and I want to talk to you guys about that. The Freedom March actually hasn't slowed down a bit. Every one of our group leaders from all over the country are expressing a huge level of excitement, a huge level of buzz all around the country for this thing. So I am super, super excited about that part of it. But I want to let you guys know we need your help. We've got a few viewers on here. We've got some people jumping on. Thank you. We need your help, though. We need you to put the link everywhere you can put the link. Share the thing. Comment on the video. Be here to hear this stuff, because what's going on is Facebook has eliminated us completely. In fact, we called Facebook and we said, hey, you know, what happened to our American Patriot Council page? And what we were told was that page never existed. We were told that there never was a page. So we wondered why my entire family had their Facebook pages or accounts wiped out. We called about that. Oh, your family never had pages. So we need your help, and all you can do is help us by sharing the link. Put the link in some groups on your Facebook if you don't mind. Put the link out there. Put it and space the letters in Bamboozled. Just put a space between the two O's. That'll help Facebook not notice that we're still here and we're not going anywhere. So welcome again to yet another exciting episode of Bamboozled, and we are here tonight to talk about some agencies, some things that typically sound really good, right? And this is a standard use of evil all the time. They take things and they make them sound good. Even Satan, when he was tempting Jesus in the desert, he said, he used Bible verses to try and trick Jesus. You're not going to trick Jesus, but that's what he tried to do. And he used those. And so what we have to do is look into what the intention of these things is, right? So you say Black Lives Matter is a great name, right? And it is. It's a good name. Just like if I created a a foundation. We talked about this before, called the Grace, Love, and Hope Foundation. And then I went out and murdered a bunch of people. And then when you asked me about it, I said, what? What? You don't like grace? What is it? You don't like love, or is it hope? Which one don't you like? Because that's what our organization is. And it doesn't matter if we kill people or not, because our organization, no, it's called faith, love, and hope. What are you talking about? Right? So that is key tonight, because there's organizations, agencies, government agencies that nowadays would seem as if they were a standard part of life. Like they're just everyday normal stuff, and they go out and they literally break the law on a daily basis. And because we've been bamboozled, we let them do it. Ryan, anything to add to that before we get down to the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution?
No, that's it. That is actually what I was going to segue into. Prefacing that is talking about the Constitution. And it's very important that we understand the constitutional rights that are guaranteed to us. And throughout this show, we've been talking all about the Constitution. Every week we bring up portions of the Constitution, and we talk about the unalienable rights that people have. And, segueing into this, we're going to be talking a little bit about the Fourth Amendment. And it's important that we understand the Fourth Amendment in its entirety, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. There's a lot of information to digest there, isn't there, Jason?
Yeah, a ton of information. And what we'll do is, in typical bamboozled fashion, we want to remind you, go look this stuff up for yourself. Make sure we didn't go in and edit the Constitution online, and make sure that we're doing that. Now, I'm gonna read this again to you, just because I want to break it down into sections. The right of the people. Who's the people, Ryan?
That's us. That's everybody. That's American citizens.
Yes, if you are an American citizen, this applies to you. To be secure in their person. So what's a person? That's me, that's you, that's their self, right? Their body, their houses, papers, and effects. Effects is just kind of an old-fashioned word for everything that they have, like their possessions, right? Against unreasonable searches, comma, and the comma is important because the next one is shall not be violated. Now, shall not be violated. Now, that means no illegal searches, no unreasonable searches. And an unreasonable search is any search without a warrant. So let's define warrant. A document issued by a legal or government official, authorizing police or somebody to make an arrest, search a premises, or carry out some other action relating to administration of justice. Okay, so now we've got, you can't be searched, your things can't be seized, you can't take those things without a warrant. Now, no warrant shall be issued being given without or but upon probable cause, or without probable cause. What is probable cause, Ryan?
That means they have to have something that's led up to the assumption, or we think we're pretty sure we have proof that this happened. Some sort of piece of information or knowledge that is deemed to be accurate.
Okay, so yeah, that is exactly it. Probable cause would be a couple of eyewitnesses saw something going on inside a store and they said, in there, that's probable cause. Probable cause would be an undercover police officer bought some drugs from a drug dealer out of his house. Probable cause would say that probable cause to believe that there is drugs in that house. Let's get a warrant. Supported by oath or affirmation. And in America, an oath and affirmation, you raise your hand, you put your other one on the Bible, and you swear to something. That is if you do that and you break that oath, there is consequences. So when you have an officer sworn by oath or affirmation that the probable cause is real, that takes real effect, and particularly describing the place to be searched. What does that mean?
when we look at, that little section right there, particularly describing the place to be searched, like they have to be accurate and know what they're going after. It can't be a broad, everything on the block, right? Just have a heyday with searching everything, right? It needs to be specific, particularly describing the place to be searched. So it needs to be described as far as what it is that they're looking for versus
so
just
they can't say search the houses on 4th Street and see if you find any drugs. Or more importantly, they can't go set up a checkpoint on 29th Avenue and stop everybody driving through to see if they've been drinking or to see if they've got illegal drugs or to search their car or to put drug dogs or any of those things. Those things cannot be done because there is no probable cause or particularly described place of search or things to be seized. You also have to say what you're searching for. You can't just have a checkpoint, right? Because if you got a checkpoint, well, what are you searching for? Well, we're searching for illegal guns coming into the state. Okay, you're searching for that. Well, what person are you searching? What particular place? You can't just say all the cars on 29th Street, you see? But more importantly, and this is where we get into those agencies that I was alluding to a few minutes ago. This is where we get into everyday stuff. Have anyone in here, please, in the comments, let me know, have you ever in your lifetime heard of a department called the health department? Ryan, have you heard of the health department?
Pretty sure, yeah. We've all heard of the health department, right? There must be something to do with health.
Right, yeah, it sounds really good, right? It's health. Health is so important, right, Ryan? It's super important. So what is the health department's job? What is one of the main jobs of the health department?
Keep people healthy?
Keep people healthy. By what? By force?
We're not really sure exactly what specifically the health department is supposed to do, but we know the things that they do in regard to searching restaurants, right? Making sure things are up to code, making sure things are, in line. I think, the Department of Health and Human Services, provides a lot of different things to people for, access to whatever, so they have multiple hats that they're trying to wear.
So the health department, one of the things you mentioned was searching a restaurant, for example, right? Now, what they do is actually there's agents that work for the health department that drive around town, pull into local restaurants, walk inside and say, I want to see your kitchen. I want to check underneath your booths. I want to see if there's any sludge on the floor. That sounds pretty good, right? But here's the problem that we run into. These guys are now able to do whatever they want to do. They can shut a restaurant down, right? That's what we're told. The health department can come in, walk in, and they don't like you. They can decide you're dirty. Do they have to prove it? I don't know. Is there a warrant?
I don't think so, because they've come up with the codes, right? And that's the part where we've been bamboozled over time, is that they have regulations. Well, if you want to operate a restaurant, you need to do these things here. And while, yes, it's good for somebody to have standards, we look at the Fourth Amendment, and if those rules are created that, hey, if you want to have a business, we can violate your Fourth Amendment by just kind of, knocking on the door and showing up anytime we want to make sure things are in line, ask yourself the question at that point, right, Jason? At that point, is the health department violating the Fourth Amendment by just stepping in whenever, they deem they want to come and search a place?
So I've highlighted something here. It says, but upon probable cause, Ryan.
Mm-hmm. What is the probable cause? Was there customers that complained? Was there people that said, hey, I saw a whole slew of dead rats in the back? What was it that was done that made it so it was probable cause?
what is the probable cause? So since a restaurant can be patronized, since a restaurant you can walk in there publicly and sit down and have a meal. Now, if the health inspector comes in, sits down to have a meal, and there's like food crust all over the plate or some kind of violation, then he has probable cause. Then he has cause to do what?
To come in with under oath and affirmation. His affirmation and oath at that point was, I ate at that restaurant and it was in terrible shape. The plate that they brought me, it had bugs on it. The plate that they brought me, there was crumbs everywhere. That would be part of that affirmation. Now, part of this over time is it's easier, Jason, for that restaurant owner just to say, hey guys, the health department's coming through. We're just going to let them swing through real quick, and then they're going to be on their way. Right?
Right.
It's easier just to comply. And we can relate that to all sorts of stuff that's happening today. But, sticking at the topic in hand, that has been one of the things that people have just, expect it and allow it to happen, right? Oh, go ahead and violate my Fourth Amendment, right? Because it's easier just to get you through and be on your way so I can keep doing my business.
Really quick, too, then to add to that, we've gotten in the habit of trusting these agencies, right? We've got OSHA. Chad, you mentioned OSHA. We've got these different agencies, OSHA. What about CPS? Remember the doctor up north who has had the lawsuit against the governor, and then suddenly first he's getting like hunting fines and he's getting different hunting fines, and now all of a sudden they're showing up with CPS at his house threatening to take his kids because he didn't comply or because he's making the governor mad. What branch of government? I'm going to add somebody who probably has some pretty cool stuff to say about this. I know she has a lot of other stuff to say. Hey, Nikki, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing beautiful, fellas. Nice to see y'all. Some things going on Facebook.
Yeah, right. We're just going to do it without Facebook. But we've got somebody here that's got something. She has something really important to talk about. But I'm going to get her opinion on this too. Hey, Catherine.
Hello. How are you guys?
Hi,
Best day of my life. How are you?
I'm exhausted, quite frankly. I was up all night long because I was helping my Patriot friends who were being railroaded in the middle of the night and having their children's and their wives' rights violated. And then wake up, and then the story in the news is that there are these awful terrorist kidnappers trying to kill the governor, which is not at all the case. So I'm thoroughly disgusted and exhausted today.
So, Catherine, we'll get to that in just a minute. We were actually just talking about Fourth Amendment violations and how agencies like CPS and OSHA and the health department all get to think they get to violate your Fourth Amendment rights without coming in without warrants, demanding to search homes. And so many people have gotten into the habit of thinking that it's okay to the CPS can just come into your house and check your refrigerator without a warrant, that we've kind of gotten onto this slippery slope. And I'm starting to feel a little bit of ice under my feet. What do you have to say about that, Catherine?
It's hard to not think of what happened last night, though. Because that was a huge Fourth Amendment violation where there was no warrant shown to anyone. And two grown men who are fathers and husbands, United States citizens, were physically removed. Their vehicles were confiscated. The one wife was thrown on the side of the street at the gas station and expected to just get a ride home. Meanwhile, her home was being ransacked with her 13-year-old daughter inside.
Wow.
I'm trying not to say too many details, but when you have one of them whose 13-year-old daughter is treated in ways that should never be treated, especially when they are purposely keeping her from being able to at least have her mother present during that time. And then they are going to the other brother's house, and then his wife and kids and his father are held captive in their own home, and then have their glass doors blown out afterwards, after the proper people are all detained, and then children's wrists are handcuffed. And I'm sorry, I'm so disgusted right now. They're lucky I didn't show up, because if I had shown up down there, then you guys would have gotten the call to bail me out last night, because our Fourth Amendment's supposed to mean something. Our Second Amendment's supposed to mean something.
And that's exactly my point. And what happened last night is part of the snowball rolling down the hill. We've seen these little minor, quote unquote, minor violations of the Constitution get to be mainstream for decades, right? And so now we've got a health department that has people convinced that they've got to wear a mask because they're convinced that CPS can come in without a warrant, because they're convinced that OSHA can show up on your job site and fine you 10 grand for somebody not having a hard hat on, or because all these little tiny violations and the snowball goes, and now they're showing up at people's houses in the middle of the night, raiding their houses without showing a warrant or showing cause, taking people to undisclosed locations on the complete opposite end of the state for no apparent reason, and then coming on the news and lying about it with the complete backing of the media. And that is how these violations, these organizations like CPS, destroy America, because little government is good, big government with lots of agencies is bad.
Absolutely. So do you guys, would now be a good time to kind of tell you some of the updates of where we're at, speaking of government, big government here in Michigan?
Yep, please.
So as you guys probably well know, the Supreme Court did have a ruling on Friday, of course, at 4:35 p.m. And the two main pieces to that were a unanimous decision, 7-0, that the governor violated the 1976 Emergency Management Act by issuing orders after April 30th, despite her, where is that? Cute little comment where she said on Friday that her orders would retain the full force of law because the court supposedly did not say she violated any laws whatsoever. She said that over and over again, several times in the media now. So that was a blatant lie, since all 7, including the Democrats, agreed that she was violating state law. And then the second part of that was a 4-3 decision that the Emergency Powers of Governor Act of 1945, the one that no governor has used for a source of emergency power since the year 1970, that in fact was declared unconstitutional. The thing that's disgusting, I'm just going to go out on a limb about this, okay, because I'm writing a response right now. So the thing that's disgusting about that is that should have been a 7-0 decision, because what even the majority is talking about, this is what they're calling it, a non-delegation doctrine, meaning a non-delegation philosophy, a frame of mind, a way of thinking about something. Whereas if you call it a clause, then it's something that, well, is written into the Constitution, right? Now, this is our state constitution. When we were talking Fourth Amendment a minute ago, that was our U.S. Constitution. Our state constitution, Article 3, Section 2, says this: the powers of government are divided into 3 branches: legislative, executive, and judicial. But then it continues. The person exercising powers of one branch shall exercise powers properly belonging to another branch, except as expressly provided in this Constitution. Hold on a second, child. You cannot be wiggling on the table. Thanks, girl. Homeschooling and, anyway.
I know it.
We're all there. We all got it too.
So, it didn't say expressly, except as expressly provided in some random state statutes, or even as Director Gordon, the director of the Department of Health and Human Services, complained that this is, what did he say? This is a 75-year-old Michigan law that was just invalidated, right? Yeah, it was invalidated, but again, he's calling it literally the non-delegation doctrine. This is what he says, mind you. Today's order is lawful, meaning all the new restrictions that he just placed on us as the Director of Department of Health and Human Services. Lawful under the Michigan Supreme Court's recent decision. That decision rested on something called the non-delegation doctrine, a legal notion never before used to invalidate a Michigan statute and not used to invalidate a federal statute for 85 years. Then he talks about that 2 decades ago, when he was a clerk, the United States Supreme Court rejected a non-delegation doctrine in an 8-1 vote. And then since then, the doctrine has become popular on the anti-government right. And a 4-3 Michigan majority has now used it to invalidate a 75-year-old Michigan law. So the interesting thing about that is, when it says right in here, no person exercising the powers of one branch shall exercise powers properly belonging to another branch, it's not a doctrine, it's a clause, meaning it's something in writing in this very contract upon which we have founded our entire government. So even those that are good, why in the world are we calling this a doctrine? This isn't some philosophical discussion. They don't get to interpret this. They don't get to talk about it and have literally like 27 pages devoted just to this doctrine or discussing how it relates to cases that have been handled at the federal court level. Who cares what the federal court level has done? This is a state court issue. The state Supreme Court should be looking at our state constitution and reading the plain words and following the plain words. I mean, I'm so disgusted about this. I could explode right now.
They're bamboozling people, right?
They are bamboozling people.
Bamboozling.
And that's the reason. That's the reason for this show, Catherine, is exactly what you just said. It doesn't take that much. Like you have a way deeper knowledge of this stuff than we do. But for your average citizen to figure out what it means when it says the right of the people to be secure in their own persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrants issued but upon probable cause, that is not hard to understand. That is not a hard thing to grasp. You know?
No, but here's what I'm gonna plant the seed with you guys is start talking more about the Michigan Constitution, because our Michigan Constitution has a plethora of rights. In fact, our entire Article number 1, it starts with our rights. It doesn't start with the sources and power of government and breaking it into different branches. Our state constitution starts with, hey guys, first you need to know we have these rights. And by the way, according to the preamble of our state constitution, this is what it says. We, the people of the state of Michigan, grateful to Almighty God for the blessings of freedom and earnestly desiring to secure these blessings undiminished to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution. So this, I mean, can you highlight the word undiminished? Is there a way to do that?
That's like unalienable.
That means we cannot change it. It means they cannot say, oh, it's times of emergency.
Undiminished.
Undiminished means undiminished. So I don't care if it's for 5 minutes. I don't care if it's for almost 7 months. I don't care if it's by the governor herself or her minion, the director of the Department of Health and Human Services. I don't care if it's a local, a county, like an Oakland County Health Department official. I don't care if they're doing it under the guise of the Public Health Code or the Emergency Management Act of 1976. It's equally as unconstitutional. And this is not some doctrine, because quite frankly, the other thing that disgusted me is that throughout this opinion, I can't even tell you how many times they use the word case law. Okay, Constitution 101, Government 101 for everybody watching this. There's no such thing as case law, because the ironic thing is the whole opinion is talking about the separation of powers and how it's the legislative branch who has the power to make laws. No one else has the right to make laws. That means the governor can't make laws. Right. Any of the minions can't make laws. The judicial branch can't make laws. None of the justices can make laws. So there's no such thing as case law. There might be precedent for a way that they've already handled a kind of situation to explain something, but they have gone far beyond explaining things. That's how we got Roe v. Wade. Nowhere in there does it say you have the right to kill a baby, but yet they somehow read that in there. No, we need to get back to reading the Constitution. It's not this growing document. The words on that page mean exactly what they meant then. And they mean freedom. And they mean we the people. And they mean government, you work for us, not the other way around. Those are concepts that they need to remember. But more importantly, guys, we need to do things like this show. We need to do all kinds of other things where we are telling our fellow citizens that this is exactly the way our government works. They work for us. We don't work for them. The more our, like you said earlier, that slippery slope, Jason, where we're just kind of getting used to, I forget your wording, but we just kind of get used to the way that this is the way things happen. No, enough is enough. Yes, educate yourselves. In fact, if you guys want to hit up my website, I don't know, I haven't been to the American Patriot website since basically the week that we put it up in April or May or whenever that was. But the restorefreedomkh.com, I've always had the Michigan and United States Constitutions on my law firm website. Well, now I have my law firm merged with the Restore Freedom Initiative petition, those efforts to restore freedom. It's all what it's about. So you can go to resources on that tab. Restorefreedomkh.com. And it'll put right on there. If you go to resources, you can go to documents and you'll see the Michigan and the U.S. Constitution. Here's one caution I will tell you about the Michigan Constitution. Anybody who looks up, anybody who's walking around with something like this, you might have gotten it from your state rep. These get old. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, in our United States Constitution, when we bring in an amendment, we vote on an amendment, it literally becomes amendment number 1, right? The 9th Amendment, the 10th Amendment, right? In our Michigan Constitution, when there's an amendment, generally speaking, it just ends up being incorporated into the section it was changing. So there's not a section of amendments that show every single way our state constitution has been changed. So we need to keep that in mind. So if you pick up one of these, you can't just take this and add an addendum to the end to see where all the amendments are. So make sure you have the most recent one, which would have been published around January 2019. So with that being said, the two things that the governor, so on Friday, when the court made their decision, of course, the governor came out and she told everyone, oh, no, I didn't do anything wrong. They said I didn't do anything wrong. I followed all the laws. That's not what they said. And she also said, and my orders have effect for at least 21 days. You guys hear that one? Anybody hear that on media?
Yeah.
I've heard that at every place of public accommodation I've been to since then. Any restaurant, any store, whatever, you name it, gas station, and people are like, oh no, I have to leave the signs up because it's effective for another 20.
That's the thing. She used that to bamboozle people, to perpetuate the fear that she has been doing this whole time, and to continue with her agenda and making people believe. It's a sad thing.
So here's the thing, that is a non-existent piece of nothing. Like, she doesn't have that right. It very clearly says that the precedent, or if they call it case law, very clearly says that these answers to certified questions, that precedent is effective immediately. As soon as that clerk receives it and puts that date stamp on it, that means it's good to go. That means we don't hold off unless the court has said for some reason they need to hold off on implementing that. So basically what they're doing is they're not writing new law because it's not case law. They're clearing up that the governor has no legal authority to do what she's doing. So here's the common sense element. Why on earth would she then get 21 days or more to continue to be unlawful and unconstitutional? We don't get to do that. Do we get to do? No, we don't get to do that. So here's what she did on Monday. Monday, she files a motion with the Michigan Supreme Court, and she says, I would like you to set aside the precedential value of the decision until the 30th, so 28 days from the decision when it came out. Okay, but it makes zero sense whatsoever. Now, what is she doing? She's literally saying, well, we need to do this because the court and the legislature screwed up big time. The legislature first enacted this law in 1945, and the legislature then screwed up when they sued me. And then the Supreme Court really screwed this up when they made it unconstitutional for me to use it. And she's literally telling people in press conferences, and now the state, we're all going to die, and it's their fault.
Yep.
So let's keep in mind one thing. 1945, I'm pretty sure it didn't pass by a supermajority, which means what, guys? The governor back then would have had to sign it in order for it to become law.
Wow.
So if she's going to blame the 1945 legislature, she should blame the 1945 governor. I'm just saying. So as far as the legislature suing, they didn't sue enough. They didn't claim enough things in there because they also were members, individual people that had individual liberties. They should have thrown all that in there because 10 million people are having their individual liberties ripped away because of these executive orders. So I'm thinking they didn't do enough, and they didn't do it quickly enough. So the courts, how did they screw up? They didn't hear the decision on June 4th when they issued that decision saying, now you got to go to the Court of Appeals.
Wow.
They didn't do it soon enough. She's
No.
thinking, well, so if you ever hear anyone say non-delegation doctrine when they're talking about what happened here in Michigan, correct them and say, that is a clause. That's actually something that's in the Constitution. It's actual wording that we have to follow. It's not some judge's opinion.
So, Catherine, I have a question for you. You saw I put 18 USC 1001 on the screen. Is there a Michigan code that you know of offhand that goes along with that? It's the false statement of fact code.
Jason, right now I've got about 37,000 statutes and cases off the top of my head, but that is not going to be one of them.
Okay, no problem. I just wonder because you know how we roll at the American Patriot Council. We are trying to help you get signatures to make sure this doesn't happen again in our state, and that this can never happen again. Also, we have what we do on our end is we want criminal charges for criminals, for people who lie to the public. And
whoa! You go talking like that. Now they're going to raid your house, and then they're going to tell the whole media that you're a terrorist trying to kidnap and murder the governor.
Yeah, I know. My wife told me. But
Looking forward to it.
But the reality is, though, that's why we do this show. We've been so vocal. It would be really hard. I mean, look, you haven't been to the website in a little bit. We've got cases. If you click cases, this will show you an overview of everything we brought to the DOJ and the FBI when we met with them. It'll show you all the code, everything that we have written into this is all here. It can be printed. It's been mailed, and it's been certified letter to bar. It's been sent certified letter to all of the people involved. We continue to send those letters out like on a weekly basis. You can put your tips in here. So basically what we're talking about, we also have a watch list. This is kind of cool. You'll like this. This is for potential criminals around the country. They can be added to the watch list, and then we can go in and try to verify whether or not it's real obvious, or if we got to talk to somebody like you first or whatever. But we have this way of getting verifiable criminals and put them on here, and then we can add them to our petition, which I realize, Catherine, we know legally a petition online holds no bearing to anything except for public pressure when the petition goes directly to the DOJ on a weekly basis.
So, but speaking of petitions that do have legal authority, maybe you could throw freedom a bone, so to speak, and put a link up on there to the Restore Freedom petition, because what I've been telling people all along since May was that this Restore Freedom petition is the only petition, the one petition in all of Michigan right now that is going to affect change on a wide scale basis. This is not one backed by the legislature. This is not one that's gotten over $1 million of funding, such as some of the other petitions that are out there. This is the one written by little old me, who literally does not want to see the 1945 law ever be used again, the 1976 law ever be used again, the public health codes that are only now coming to light. Those are all things that are addressed in here. And in fact, you want to hold people accountable. So the Restore Freedom Initiative petition makes it very clear that, first of all, there's two kinds of accountability, right? There's going to be some civil accountability. There's going to be, there's three. The first kind of accountability, like most of us in Michigan, we'd be happy if we had the right to just go into a courthouse and have the court declare the governor can no longer do anything against us with these executive orders, right? A declaratory relief, injunctive relief. So that's one kind. Standing has been the biggest problem with people getting into court and being able to make that argument. So with this constitutional amendment, that standing provision is set aside because if anybody sees, and they're in the United States, if they're a citizen, especially if they have taken any kind of oath of office, if they see that a government official is violating the Constitution, they have a duty to enforce that Constitution. So that allows them, it gives them the standing. So they can't just have the governor argue, you don't have standing to sue me, we have to throw this case out. Garbage. Second of all, we have the idea of criminal sanctions. Now, we have, all this immunity, right? And we've been dealing with it for decades. And you guys have been digging more into that and how to get around that, right? Well, under this constitutional amendment, if any kind of government official is found to be purposefully, intentionally violating the Constitution, whether it's the parts that just limit their authority, or whether it's the parts that specifically protect one of our freedoms, if they're found to intentionally violate the Constitution, strike one is a misdemeanor, and there's a big fine. Strike two is a felony, and they are immediately removed from office, and they are precluded forever from ever serving in any public office for state or local offices anywhere in the state of Michigan ever again. Because why should the people have to collect just shy of 1.2 million signatures in a short amount of time on these crazy amount of different, petitions, just to be able to collect them all and turn them into a Secretary of State who's totally partisan?
Yep.
And then claim that the signatures are invalid, so that the people, and then you can't recall in the first year of an office for a 4-year office. You can't recall in the last year of office. The whole thing is garbage. So with this constitutional amendment petition, if they have intentionally twice violated the Constitution, there's no recall needed. They are instantly removed from office, and they are never allowed to hold that office ever again.
So Catherine,
That's fantastic.
There's another part to this too, and that is our part, right? Knowing what those violations are is so important, right? Paying attention to what a violation is, because these people violate the Constitution like it's going to breakfast, and like they're just doing their laundry and they're just throwing constitutional amendments in the dryer and cooking them. Like it doesn't, and nobody knows, because again, it's CPS can come in your house, right? Wrong. OSHA can just walk onto your property, can't they?
Sure.
No. So, but nobody knows that. And listen, people, I'm going to make a plea really quick too. If somebody tries to break your rights, it doesn't matter if it's harmless or not. Do not let them. If you are pulled over by the police and they want to search your car, even if you have nothing and you don't want them to think you're guilty, because that's the pressure they put on you, just like wear a mask at the store, because they don't want you to think you look bad.
Yeah.
You demand a warrant. You say, I want a warrant. If CPS shows up to your house, I want a warrant. If OSHA comes to your job site, I want a warrant. If they come to your restaurant wanting to search your kitchen, you want a warrant. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because you know your rights, and now nobody can ever again take them away from you.
So here's the thing I'm going to ask from all of you listeners, besides educating yourselves, besides reading the Michigan Constitution and the U.S. Constitution, I'm going to ask you for help on this Restore Freedom Initiative petition. What do I mean by that? We don't have to get as many as the recall, but we have to get 425,059 signatures within a 180-day window, right? A 180-day time span. My signature was the first to go on May 30th. If we're going to keep that signature as the first one and turn them in with the rest, that means by Thanksgiving Day, we have to turn in all the signatures. So that means we have, what does that mean, like 6 or 7 weeks that we have to get all the rest of these signatures. Do I know the exact count of where we're at, or even a ballpark at this point? Honestly, no, because in case anybody has not been paying attention, I've been fighting in the Supreme Court. I've been doing nationwide and local radio and TV stations and podcasts. I've been in nationwide articles. Newsweek got me this week. A couple of, several different avenues. I'm going to keep fighting for freedom. I'm not going to sit in my basement and count all the petitions every single day. So what I can tell you is that we're nowhere near being able to be done. I don't have paid circulators. I don't have tons of money rolling in where I can have, oodles of commercials on all these different kinds of TV stations and radio stations and whatnot. I need your help. I need every single person to help. Now, what does it look like for somebody who is really quiet and reserved, doesn't really go and do a lot, doesn't do anything political, doesn't even put a sign in their yard, doesn't even tell their sister or their parents that they're going to vote for Trump or vote for whomever, right? Even if that's you, if you love your freedom, you need to carry around at least three blank petitions in your car. Put them on a clipboard, keep them in your car. So the next time you go up to get some gas, you get out, you look over, and the guy next to you at the pump, he's not wearing a mask. Wow, look at that. Walk over to him and say, hey, you seem like the kind of guy that likes your freedom. Would you be willing to sign a Restore Freedom Initiative petition so that all of our freedoms can be maintained and restored here in the state of Michigan? What's he going to do? Say no? If that's the case, say, okay, thanks for your time and have a great day. Otherwise, he's going to sign it and go, heck yeah, that sounds great. Thank you. You go to a store, you walk in, you see you are not the only person without a mask. You see somebody else that doesn't have a mask, or maybe they do have one, but it says this mask is as useless as my governor or something of that nature. Ask them to sign. I'm telling you, it's not that hard. In fact, you could do another step better. We have car magnets and we have window decals and things like that, all at cost. We're not making money off of those things. That's just to get the word out. So if you happen to go to our website and there's a shop donate button and you see one of them that's $3 or $4 and you order that, and I'll see that later tonight and I'll package it all up for you and I'll send it out in the mail to you. You slap that on your car. I kid you not. I've had people that have those on their car. They go into Aldi, they go into Meijer, they go into the store somewhere. They come out and there's people standing at their car waiting to sign because they know what it is and they want to sign, but they haven't had the opportunity to do so. Those are simple, easy, extremely low-cost ways for you to fight for your freedom and help us out. We need 425,000 signatures. Could you imagine if every person that you know went out and simply got, 20 signatures? Do you know what impact that would have? It wouldn't be a ton, but if we can all carry that burden, then we're going to be able to get it done. And you know what? The quicker we can get this done, the more time I will then have to fight the good fight right now in court. Because when I'm the one trying to run out and get all these signatures and tell everybody about it, that's less time that I'm not putting towards fighting the governor or the Department of Health and Human Services in court. That's less time that I am not able to stay up all night long trying to figure out what jail some citizen might have been brought to because we have some government officials or law enforcement officials that decided they were going to throw out the Constitution. There's so much going on there, guys. If we want to be able to help in any way, don't ever say, I'm just one person. I can't do anything huge. I'm just one person. If you as one person can go out and even get 20 signatures, and then you send those back to me, my address is on those petitions. You send those back to me, I guarantee you that's going to help make a difference. But why stop there? Why don't you look at November 3rd? We're asking for people to be at polling precincts. You could be at your own, or you could sign up to be at one of them that we're going to be focusing on, one of the big areas that has a lot of voters coming to it. And we're going to look for people to sign up in shifts. And you're going to sit out there and you're not going to have to worry about what county, right? Because if people they're voting, then they're in the right county.
Right.
And you can collect signatures all day long. Or you could do it for 4-hour chunks or whatever. But you know how easy that is to fight for your freedom.
This is a grassroots thing that you're calling for. I think looking at the differences between the repeal, Unlock Michigan, the 1945 law, that's an exercise that would have led to what Gretchen's doing anyways right now, right? Yep. So that whole thing has just been a little bit of a show, is where what you're doing is really looking at restoring that individual liberty and taking these things that have been throughout the years passed through our Constitution that have been unconstitutional, and in restoring those back to the original state of that unalienable rights. What was that word? Undeniable. What was it? The word?
Undiminished.
Undiminished. Yeah, undiminished, right? That's the word unalienable rights, undiminished rights. And so they have been diminished. And what you're doing is really bringing those back to that central focus on that undiminished thing. So yeah, I think it's very important. And there was a question that came up. I know we have a nationwide audience. Do the signatures need to be from Michigan? Yes, they do. They have to be Michigan based. So while we appreciate all the support that we get around the nation, and we need to continue to bring awareness to all of this because it's important, this is a Michigan based thing here. So we'll continue to help.
Michigan can help. Certainly people outside of Michigan can help. They can share on social media, especially if they have other Michigan connections. Twitter and Parler and Wimkin and Facebook and LinkedIn and all those. They can share on YouTube different things. I have a lot of videos that can help talk about all this. They can try to donate if you want to donate. The donate tab will give electronic methods of donating, but even just sending a check. And if you write petition on the memo line, that'll help us know that either we're going to pay for more petitions to be printed, or we're going to be able to try to do some sort of marketing efforts. And right now we don't have a ton of money, so I have to figure out how to be very strategic about the limited amount of funds we would have for marketing. But hopefully in the next week, we're going to start rolling out with some things. And I do have some radio stations that have offered to do some great things for us.
But do you have a goal? Do you have, let's say you had a goal for the next 7 days to raise funds. What would that goal be? How much would you want to raise in the next 7 days? 20,000, 50,000? What are we, so that the viewers know?
See, the hard part is about 3 months ago now, I asked our volunteer, and we have about 2,000 volunteers all across the state, but I asked our volunteers to, the call to action was to reach out to their local newspapers to find out how much it would cost to put a front page top half ad, how much it would cost to be on a local radio station for a 30-second commercial or 60-second commercial, how long it would be on the local TV stations for a 30 or 60-second commercial. And I've had 0 people get back with me with any kind of contact information and a price that it would be. So I have no way to guesstimate what a good, reasonable impact would look like. So it's hard to gauge how many dollars in funds. Obviously, the more the better, right? If I had $50,000 coming in the next 7 days, we could whip together some commercials and put them in the big target areas, the Grand Rapids area, the Lansing area, the greater Detroit area, and we could really start to make a difference there. Absolutely.
Okay.
What is the process to become to actually? What do you go through in order to be able to do the
Circulate?
petition? Yeah. Thank you.
So we put together a 12-minute, looking at my husband and give me confirmation, 12-minute or so video. Oh, yeah, petition. You're on petition right there. So if you look, there's the training video. If you scroll down a little bit, I don't know if it's Jason or Ryan there who's doing that, but if you scroll down a little bit more, become a petition circulator, and there's easy steps right there. So you fill out the little application. It takes, 60 seconds. It's just so we have, usually if you have autofill for your name and address and that kind of thing, it's not even 60 seconds, but that's so we can give you any updates and whatnot. And then we have the 12-minute training video. The written instructions are also displayed on the side there, just key highlights to what was in the training video. And then I think number 3 was saying to just connect with your local captain who's listed on our website. And then they would be able to get you petitions and to make sure they're collecting any signed petitions that you have that you just need to turn in. Now, if you're close enough here, you don't need to connect with somebody else to drop them back off. I have tons of people that just come and drop them off. I have a big lockable drop box. It's my mailbox. But you can fit hundreds, if not thousands of petitions, signatures in there. So sometimes people just come anytime, night or day. It's fine. They just put them in and then they go. Getting new ones, they might go to one of our signing hubs or one of our hubs. We have those available on our website as well. So if you need petitions, you can go there. But really, it's like total 15 minutes start to finish. Now, if you happen to see us at one of our rallies that we've been having or informational gatherings or whatever, we've had a variety of things. We've probably had well over 100 different events from June through October so far. I myself am going to be, somewhere up north, 2 hours from Hudsonville in the morning on Saturday, and then I'm heading down to speak at more of a medical freedom type of rally on later there in Walker, and then I'm heading over to Fowlerville for more of like a Second Amendment type of rally. But again, this petition does it all. It affects medical freedom in a variety of amazing ways. It affects our Second Amendment rights and protects them even further in a lot of amazing ways. So anyway, we're able to help.
Where can people find the events that you're going to be at, Catherine? Is there a spot where people can go to see upcoming events?
Absolutely. There's a couple different things. Can you guys bring that website up one more time? If we go to the website, trying to do this off memory while I don't have it in front of me. So where to sign. If you go to that tab, then that shows events. You can also see the business signing locations and home signing locations. So if you scroll down a little bit, so you could see the three different things. If you keep, so events will actually give you the calendar of events. And then the other two are like stationary things, right? So if you, scroll down there. So there's a calendar there. And it'll tell you, and then you can click on it. It'll expand. You can, put it into your Google Calendar or whatnot. See, I told you we've had a lot of events.
So you can look at this list and see if there's anything that's close in your area. That way you can go and join, and you're able to sign there. So there's a couple different ways to be involved, from the grassroots, talking to people at the gas pumps, etc. Get your family members to sign, to finding some of these events that you're going to be at all over the place, and then being able to share this. I think it's important that we have people that can share, and maybe not all of the information, but if you find an event that's in your area, or if you have, your friend Sam or whatever has, they live, an hour away, and there's an event in that area, sharing it with them and letting them know. So, those that can look at that list and be able to help connect the dots for some people. We're on Facebook. Right? Well, we're not on Facebook. We got booted off, but
I'm still there.
You're still there.
Oh,
yeah. We can find, connect with your friends that are in different areas and share the one event. Hey, Saturday at 3, stop by, bring 2 or 3 people with you or whatever. And if we all do a little bit of those parts, we can go a long way with this. Because again, I just want to reiterate, right, that this is different than the Unlock Michigan. This is different than what Stand Up Michigan and the legislature is doing, because even if that is successfully repealed, which the Supreme Court said they repealed it, or said it was unconstitutional the way she did it, she's still doing this through the health department. Gretchen is still going forward with this. So what they're doing doesn't change the fact of how she's operating. And what you're doing is bringing back that undiminished freedoms that we have, right? We're identifying the things that are put in the Constitution that we're like, hey, that's not supposed to be there. That's not supposed to be undiminished the way that it was originally intended from the start, and bringing back those unalienable rights to us. So it's very important to know the difference and know that where your heart is at and where this document brings us truly is bringing back those undiminished rights guaranteed by our Michigan Constitution.
I want to cap that with something, because as you were talking, this came to my mind. We have another problem. And the problem is, like we saw today, a made-for-TV crime drama that played out in front of us on TV. And we watched that. And you know what? The media has to be held accountable. You need to call your news stations and start demanding that they stop putting this garbage out. That is another active thing that you can do from home. You don't even have to give them your name. But if they get 50 calls a day complaining about this story and 50 calls a day complaining about that story, we've got to be active. Like, find something. There's something you can do. It doesn't matter if you're like me and you can walk into a store and just tell somebody off because they want you to wear a mask or whatever. But you don't have to be that way. You can get on the phone and hide behind your phone and go, hey, why are you playing stories like this without evidence? Why did I see Lee Chatfield basically convict a guy of a crime on his Twitter feed without anybody ever having gone to trial? I mean, he's talking about these people need to be brought to justice and everything. Well, what people? We don't even have convicted criminals yet, and you're talking about justice being swift. This is the problem. That is media, and when I say media, we need to fight back on Twitter, on Facebook. We're gone. Like, we fought back, and they got rid of us. So whatever, help us fight back. Share our links and things onto your groups and into your Facebook and make it happen, because we all need to work together to get our freedom back. And
so I'm going to say one last thing about the petition. If somebody wants to see some of these key points we've talked about, because we kind of talked about quite a bit of different things tonight, from the Fourth Amendment to the court case to the petition, on the website, on that petition page, that petition tab, if you scroll towards the bottom, you can actually see the entire petition online. You can even see the link where it's filed with the Secretary of State, unlike the allegations from a certain other grassroots organization that tried to say that it wasn't. But if you scroll down a little bit further than that, there is a link to under petition. There is a link to the summary page, if you will. Pretty sure it's the right page. There it is. That beautiful little amendment banner. No, scroll a little bit further. That thing right there. So it has the summary of all the key highlights of what this petition does. So you can save that. You can print it. It's also available in a black and white version under resources. Actually, I think it's also available black and white version, just if you kept scrolling down a little bit too. But anyway, so if you wanted to be able to bring that with you, show people those are the key highlights. I know a lot of people are visual. They like to see something in a bullet point format. A lot of those things that we talked about right now or tonight are there just so people can easily reference them later. So anyway, I just wanted to bring your attention to that. So in case you're out there and you want to know more, want to be able to kind of carry it around with you or whatnot, that would be an easy way to do that as well. So
I definitely, I'm the founder of the Happy Patriot Survival Group. And anytime I see any of your events, I post them so that way people can just go to the calendar. And I remind, kind of do like a couple times a week, like, hey, what's going on with the petitions? Who has them? So, because I'm totally excited and I'm so grateful and I'm so proud of you and Jason and Ryan. And I'm proud of myself because I've been going through some things on Facebook lately. We got some people throwing around the N-word. I'm one of the admins on Mask Free Michigan. And basically, when you're put in a position that usually they're used to seeing men of different shades, not me being, but like the founder, like he made me an admin, and I'm doing what I can to keep it true to his wishes because he got banned a while ago. So I'm kind of making moves, and there's some people that don't like that, and I'm getting some nasty whatever, and I've been in my head a little bit today, but I'm too good looking for this BS, and we're all about freedom. We're going to keep pushing. We have the event scheduled in Flint, October 24th at 3 p.m. We're going to meet at the old farmers market. We're going to march all the way to the new farmers market. And if the cops show up, I hope they do. I want them to join too. I'm going to keep running my mouth. I had people messaging me last night about what was going on as far as there were some, they said, have you heard like there's some things going on with some militia members and there's like this plot going on. And I was like, wow.
So you said October 24th. That's a Saturday, 3 Saturdays from now. Mm-hmm. Can you connect maybe with Lori from our events team for us?
Yeah, let me talk about that for a second here. We are going to be having the petition. So if you plan on joining one of the Michigan-based American or nationwide freedom marches, if you're going to be at any one of those locations, we're going to have petitions there. So, if you're planning that, we've going to have those spots there. Plan on signing that petition and bringing some friends to sign that petition as well.
Is that the thing that you have in Allendale? Is that the same day as that?
Okay. Day. So, that's the Nationwide Freedom March Day, and we're going to be having your petitions at all the locations. We got like 7, I think, locations in Michigan. So all around the state we're going to have, and it's going to be huge. We're going to have a lot of people showing up.
I want to do 2 things before we wrap it up. First, I want to thank everybody for sharing, and I want to ask you to hit it one more time for us before we make this last announcement. This is huge. This is America coming together. Each one of these blue American Patriot Council logos is marking a location for a march on October 24th. Look, I'm going to scroll down. Look at how many patriots are going to be on the streets saying we want our Constitution to rule our country once again right here. That is you. That isn't us, but we need your help sharing this out. They've taken it off Facebook. That does not end anything. Okay.
It's fired people up.
We are going to bring this up. Now, I want to show you one other thing. If you look on this map and you go, man, I'm in Montana. I can't possibly drive 13 hours down to the nearest one in Idaho there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my zip code and see what's closest to me, right? But if there's not one in your area, all you really need to do is message, and you can go in and you can become an organizer for one of these events. It's super, super easy. By the way, that's only one page. We got a couple more pages here that you can look at.
50 locations. There's over 50 locations in 25 states, and there's more coming on board. I just got messages earlier, so it's going to continue to get bigger. We still have, click to the main page real quick, Jason.
Right.
Yep. And then once we show up there, go down just a little bit more.
Who's that guy screaming on that video on that website there?
Yeah, wait a minute. Where's the clock? Did we take the clock off?
Clock, it's right here.
We got the ticker.
Yeah, right there.
17 hours, 24 minutes, and 33, 32, 31, 30 seconds.
And people are fired up, right? We as we mentioned earlier, we've been booted off Facebook. The whole thing's been deleted. All the phone calls coming in, we're doubling down, going twice as hard, handing out flyers. We're knocking on doors of people and dropping off flyers to our friends around the country. People are stepping up and filling these leadership roles to make this event huge, which will be the largest unified display of American patriotism in American history. Coast to coast, all over the country, we are going to have Patriots gathering at the same time. It's going to be incredible. So take part.
Ryan, is there another group that has an event? Like, in other words, what if we put one on my page that had all of your info, but since you guys don't have a page anymore, what if we put that on my page and shared it? We can get it onto the movement. We can get it onto some of these other ones. You can put it on the mask-free group. What do you have? Anybody else that's reposted the event itself for you yet?
Let's connect offline here. We'll wrap the show up, but we'll connect offline, and we still have some people that are on Facebook. We can get that linked up. So
awesome.
Jason, you want to wrap us up here? We went a little bit over today, but we've had a huge audience for being booted off Facebook. Thank you guys for sharing, because our audience is just as strong as it was in the past. And that is incredible, because we know we are reaching people with this message of positivity, of truth, and being able to empower people all over this country. So thank you guys for helping this be a success as well.
We are the people. Together we stand. There's strength in numbers, and we the people. We've said that since the beginning. And together we stand, strength in numbers, we the people. Say that to yourself. Get yourself hyped up. This is the revolution, or the reinventing of the same America that made it so great. It's not like we're creating a new America. We're just resetting, right? We're just going to reset the precedent that America set with the greatest nation in the history of the world ever. And we are not going to let it just slip away as if it just can slide off into some communist China nonsense, and we aren't going to allow it. We're going to put these criminals in jail. We're going to change things back to the way it's supposed to be, and then we're going to sustain a constitutional government, because we're going to teach our kids what this stuff is, so that they can go and teach their kids what almost happened in 2020. And with that, I love you. Anybody else got anything they want to say as we're taking it out?
Just want to say thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it.
You made the show. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. They just zapped me. I'm gone off of Facebook too. Poof.
What?
Yeah, Clay just called me, and he's just like, I can't find y'all.
Oh.
Told y'all I was coming. I must be doing something right. I'm in great company.
Right. Haters are free.
One of these viewers must have been them watching. Look, the American Patriot Council, everything that we do is a legal and lawful action. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting us. We love you. We support law enforcement. We support law and order, legal, lawful action.